A Treatise of Satan's Temptations. By Richard Gilpin. A discourse of the malice, power, cruelty and diligence of Satan. Of his cunning in temptation in the general. Of his method of tempting to sin. Of his policies for maintaining his possession. Of his deceits for the preventing, and spoiling, religious services and duties. Part 1. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. 1 Peter verse 8. The introduction to the text, from a consideration of the desperate ruin of the souls of men. The text opened, expressing Satan's malice, power, cruelty, and diligence. The souls of men are precious. The whole world cannot repair their loss. Hence by God, are all men in particular charged with care and watchfulness about them. He hath also set up watchmen, and overseers, whose business it is to watch over souls, and in the most strict and careful manner, as those that must give an account. Hebrews 13:17. What can more stir up men to the discharge of this duty than the frequent alarms which we have of the assaults of such an adversary, whose business it is to destroy the soul? The Philistines are upon thee, Samson. Judges 16:9. He fights continually, and used all the policy and skill he hath for the management of his strength. Besides, it is a consideration very affecting, when we view the desolations that are made in the earth. Psalm 46:8. What wounds, what overthrows, what cruelties, slaveries, and captivities these conquered vessels are put to. It was, as some think, an inexcusable cruelty in David against the Ammonites, when he put them under saws, and harrows of iron, and made them pass through the brick kiln. 2 Samuel 12:31. But this spiritual Pharaoh hath a more grievous house of bondage, and iron furnace. Neither is this miserable destruction ended, but will keep pace with time, and shall not cease, till Christ shall, at his appearance, finally conquer him, and tread him down. If Xerxes wept, to look upon his army through the perspective of devouring time, which, upon an easy foresight, showed him the death of so great a company of gallant men, we may well weep, as David at Ziklag, till we can weep no more. Or as Rachel for her children, refusing to be comforted, Jeremiah 31:15, while we consider what a great number of succeeding generations, heaps upon heaps, Judges 15:16, will be drawn with him to a consuming tophet. And could we follow him thither, to hear the cries of his prisoners, the roarings of his wounded, where they curse the day that brought them forth, and themselves for their folly and madness in hearkening to his delusions, the dreadful outcries of eternity, and then their rage against heaven in cursings and blasphemings, while they have no mitigations or ease, nor the refreshment of a drop of water to cool their tongues. Luke 16:24, we would surely think, we could never spend our time better, than in opposing such an enemy, and warning man to flee from the wrath to come. Matthew 3:7, to take heed they come not into his snare. With what earnestness would we endeavor to persuade men? What diligence would we use to cast water upon these devouring flames, and to pluck men as brands out of the fire? It is true, if Satan had dealt plainly with men, and told them what wages they were to expect, and set a visible mark upon his slaves, or had managed a visibly destructive hostility. Men have such natural principles of self-preservation, and of hatred of what appears to be evil, that we might expect they would have fled from him, and still have been upon their guard. But he used such artifices, such sleights and cousinage, that men are cast into a sleep or a golden dream. While he binds them in chains of darkness they see not their end, the snare, nor the pit. Nay, he intoxicates them with a love of their misery, and a delight in helping forward their ruin, so that they are volunteers in his service, and possessed with a madness and rage against all, that will not be as willing as themselves to go to hell. But especially if they put forth a compassionate hand to help any, out of that gulf of misery, they hate them, they gnash upon them with their teeth, and run upon them with utmost violence, as if they had no enemies but these compassionate Samaritans. Luke 10:33. How great is this mystery of darkness! Who shall be able to open the depths of it? Who shall declare it fully to the sons of men, to bring these hidden things to light? Especially seeing these hellish secrets which are yet undiscovered, are double to those that have been observed, by any that have escaped from his power. He only whose prerogative it is to search the hearts of men, Revelation 2:23, can know, and make known, what is in the heart of Satan. He views all his goings, even those paths which the vulture's eye hath not seen, Job 28:7, and can trace those footsteps of his, which leave no more print or track behind them, than a ship in the sea, or a bird in the air, or a serpent on a stone. Proverbs 30:19. Yet notwithstanding, We may observe much of his policies, and more would God discover, if we did but humbly and faithfully improve what we know already. It is my design to make some discovery of those haunts. I have observed, if by that means I may be useful to you, to quicken and awaken you. And first I shall set before you the strength and power of your enemy, before I open his cunning and craft. There are found in him whatsoever may render an adversary dreadful. 1. As, first, malice and enmity. Alpha nu tau delta iota kappa omicron sigma is a law term, and signifies an adversary at law, one that is against our cause, and the text, as some think, heightens this malice, 1, by the article, which denotes an arch-enemy. 2, the name delta iota beta omicron lambda omicron sigma, which signifies a slanderer or calumniator. For the word is twice in the New Testament used for a slanderer, showing his hatred to be so great that it will not stick at lying, and falsehood, either in accusing God to us, or us to God. Nay, it particularly hints that when he hath in malice tempted a poor wretch to sin, he spares not to accuse him for it, and to load him with all things that may aggravate his guilt or misery, accusing him for more than he hath really done, and for a worse estate than he is really in. 2. Secondly, his power. Under the metaphor of a lion, a beast of prey, whose innate property is to destroy, and is accordingly fitted with strength, with tearing paws, and a devouring mouth. That as a lion would rend a kid with ease, and without resistance, so are men swallowed up by him as with open mouth. So the word kappa alpha tau alpha pi iota signifies, he can sup them up at a draught, a kappa alpha tau alpha pi nu omega. 3. Thirdly, his cruelty, a roaring lion, implying not only his innate property to destroy, which must be a strange fierceness, but also that this innate principle is heightened and whetted on, as hunger in a lion sharpens, and enrages that disposition, till he get his prey, so that he becomes raving and roaring, putting an awful majesty upon cruelty, and frighting them out of endeavors, or hopes of resistance, and increasing their misery with affrightments, and tremblings. Thus Satan shows a fierce and truculent temper, whose power being put forth from such an implacable malice, must needs become rage and fierceness. 4. Fourthly, his diligence, which, together with his cruelty, are consequences of his malice and power, he goes about and seeks. He is restless in his pursuit, and diligent, as one that promiseth himself a satisfaction, or joyful contentment in his conquests. Thanks.